Welcome into the Pro Football Radio Podcast. We are at episode number 12. This is your co-host here, Cheema, with the pride and joy of Merrimack, New Hampshire, Da Puma.
Thank you. Far too kind. And hang on, we got to do that introduction one more time of Poncho and Da Puma.
So is Poncho sticking or what, man?
Dude, it has a nice ring.
Yeah?
It really does.
All right. Well, I mean, I don't know if it's going to stick just yet. I guess we can try it out for a couple more weeks, but...
I mean, any excuse for me to use the slide, the echo on this microphone is fine by me. Absolutely. So I'll take the ready to rumble intro. Yeah.
But glad to be back, man. We had a week off. You were away doing your thing.
Right.
I was sitting there itching, ready to say some stuff to somebody, but nobody was there.
I was up in the boonies, man, and it was a good time. We went out for my boy Mike. He's getting hitched Memorial Day weekend, so we went out and went to this cabin. One of the groomsmen, Aaron, he's got this little property. It's perfect, away from society pretty much, and just went out and shot shit. Yeah. Shot everything from a .22 rifle to like an AR-15 and everything in between, and it was a blast. Shooting stuff, drinking. Granted, we weren't drinking while we were shooting. We were being super gun conscious.
I don't believe that one bit.
No, dude, absolutely no bullshit. Like if you know, there were a couple other rookies up there besides myself, and if you were looking to see if, say, the gun was jammed or whatever, and you didn't have the gun pointed down range, and like your finger was near the trigger, like you were getting dogged. Yeah. So they weren't messing around at all, and I applaud them because a couple of times I'm like, yeah, there's enough stuff to kill people over here like 3 times over. So no, it was a great time, and you held down the fort with breaking some news on the IG. So.
I know. I was like, you know what? Let me, first of all, you're so quick with the IG breaking news stuff. I don't even try anymore. I'm like, this kid's going to throw it up there before I even do. What's the point of me trying, right?
Hey, I mean, that was a great photo of DeMarcus Lawrence, if I say so myself. So.
But no, it's glad to have you back, man. It's spring. It's beautiful out. I'm loving life.
It's gorgeous.
71 degrees.
It's 72 right now.
Dude, so far today's been great. I woke up. I had my bowl of cereal, right?
Right. Wait, what cereal?
Right now, I am on a kick of Fruity Pebbles.
You gotta go Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Well, that's my favorite, right? So let me give you some background. When I had my knee surgery, my good friend Sarah O came over to kind of help me through the whole knee surgery and afterwards.
True friend of the podcast.
A great friend of the podcast. And she went and did some grocery shopping for me. And I haven't had cereal in probably a year or so, right? And before that, maybe 2 years. So I didn't realize cereal was that good, and I kind of got reintroduced to the cereal. Right. Cereal game, right? And ever since then, I've just been going through cereal. I've been going through. She bought Frosted Flakes, and I went and I bought some Fruit Loops. I went and bought some Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and then I went and bought some Fruity Pebbles, and I'm just eating fucking cereal at all times of the day, breakfast, fucking lunch, dinner.
Why not?
Dude, middle of the night, me some Fruity Pebbles, fucking. It's just like a cereal sex party at my fucking place.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, Chief. But no, the best. I mean, I'm a Cinnamon Toast Crunch mark myself, but the best is Fruit Loops. But the milk at the bottom, what's left over.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about you. I drink the milk with whatever's left in the bottom of the bowl, and the Fruit Loops to me, that whole thing, it tastes so good. At one time, I was at a bar, and I think it's 3 Olives. They make Loopy, which is vodka that tastes like the bottom of a cereal bowl with Fruit Loops.
Oh, and
wow. It is almost the same thing.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not a vodka guy, but I could drink that if push came to shove.
So the one thing I want to say about milk is,
here we go.
I've been drinking coconut / almond / soy milk for the last 3 years. Dude, anytime I have regular milk, I get clogged up. I get stuffy. It just gets all kinds of crazy. And I made the mistake of buying regular whole milk because for some reason.
Oh, you didn't get 2%.
I didn't get 2%. Oh, I didn't get skim. I went to go buy almond milk, but the cartons. There's a new brand that the cartons all look alike now.
Right.
And I just quickly picked up whole milk, got home, and I and I started eating some with my cereal. And I didn't realize just how thick whole milk is. Whole milk is like, it's like cream almost, man. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, this is like a treat. I gotta go back to drinking whole milk, man. It's simply, it's like almost like custard, you know?
Oh, Christ. Oh, the comments that could be said.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
But yeah, so it's been nice, man. Me and cereal and just sex party in the middle of the night. Friday night, just
sex party orgy, thick custard like milk. That doesn't sound like you're having cereal there, Chief.
So,
how do you follow that up?
Well, this is how we follow it up. I am super hyped. You know why?
Why is that?
Tomorrow night is the premiere of the final season of Game of Thrones.
Oh, Christ.
Dude, you gotta get on the bandwagon, bro. I know you go against everything that is hip and pop culture-ish. If you don't discover it first, then you immediately hate it.
No, it's not even that.
Oh, come on, Brandon. I've known you for long enough.
No, like I watched maybe like the first 2-3 episodes of Game of Thrones because I don't have HBO at the house. So when I go to my parents one time, I had a little sauce and decided to see what was on demand. I was like, oh, we'll see what the Game of Thrones is about. And I don't know, man. Like I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It was just maybe it's like the first like 20 pages in like a book where like if you get through like the first 20 pages, like it's worth it. But to me, like I couldn't. And then like the whole fact that like one guy is like boinking it, like his sister.
Oh yeah, Cersei Lannister.
Something like that. Like the shame.
Yeah.
Shame.
Well, Cersei Lannister is my favorite character in that show. Dude, I love her win at all cost mentality. She's an absolute
I got the vibe that she didn't care.
Oh, dude, she's the absolute psychopath. And people love like Jon Snow and Khaleesi, and everybody will have their own favorite, people in that show. But mine is Cersei. And when I tell people that, they judge me. They judge me because I like the villain. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes you gotta say hello to the bad guy.
Dude, she's a fucking animal, bro. So, but because of that coming out tomorrow night, I wanted to kick the podcast off with a game. The game is it a real city or a Game of Thrones city?
Oh, boy.
Right? So it's very simple. I'm going to give you a real city on planet Earth, and I'm going to give you a Game of Thrones city, and you figure out which one is real.
Great.
You ready for this?
It seems
Hopefully
simple
this
enough.
can like bring you into the fold a little bit.
Bring me into the fold, but we'll see.
Okay. Gobbler's Knob, or King's Landing. Which is the real city?
King's Landing is the real city.
No.
Really?
King's Landing
really?
is a Game of Thrones city.
Holy shit, I'm already starting off over one.
And Gobbler's Knob is in Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yep.
Is it in like Amish country?
Dude, it has to be somewhere where there's a bunch of... I assume it's a bunch of turkeys out there.
It's got to be in Lancaster County, bro.
Dude, Gobbler's Knob, gobble gobble.
I mean, that sounds like a Brazzers video, but that's beside the point.
All right, okay. Ready for another one?
Yeah.
Helltown or Iron Islands?
Which is the real city?
Which is the real city?
Christ. I mean, all bets are off at this point. I'm going to go Helltown. There's like a Hell's Kitchen in New York, so I'll go Helltown is the real city.
Helltown is the real city, yes.
Thank God.
In Norway, and Iron Islands is home of the Greyjoys. The Greyjoys are like so all these cities, by the way, they have like a meaning behind it for Game of Thrones.
Right.
Like King's Landing is where the Lannisters hang out, right? Lannisters are family. By the way, Game of Thrones, like inside, there's a bunch of families that just hate each other.
Clearly, it sounds that way.
Right? And Iron Islands is like where the Greyjoys hang out. The Greyjoys their expertise is like naval stuff. They have a lot of ships. They have armadas, fleets like that.
Got it.
All right. Middlefart or Marine?
Which is the real city?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if I use logic, I'm just going to lose every time. So I'm going to go Middlefart as the real city.
You're correct.
Oh my God.
Middlefart, Denmark.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you for like?
I
You're
am for
not,
real.
you're not messing with me. Like
I swear, you can Google all these places.
Middelfart, Denmark.
Middelfart, Denmark. It's a real place.
Jesus.
And Marine is a place where Daenerys, or Khaleesi, right? She kind of like took over that town for
This
a
is
little
the
bit.
blonde chick, right?
Yeah, the blonde chick that has 3 dragons.
Right.
Well, 2 now, but
But Marine doesn't build boats.
what's up?
Marine doesn't have like boats and shit. Like out
So
of all.
Marine is just it's just a city. I don't know. That part of the show I kind of like blacked out a little bit.
Fair enough.
I don't know what the actual like importance of Marine is, but I guess she just came over. She took over. She like kind of like
Was she sent over as like an offering? I seem to remember that part.
that's like season 1. Yeah, man. Season 1, she was kind of like given away almost. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, she's boinking Drago and
Yeah.
all
And
that
then
other nonsense.
she comes, she
Okay. All
walks the
right. I
fire.
got you.
Okay. Old Town or PP Township.
PP Township.
As in like PP, as in like urinate township, as in PP tape.
I'm going to go
/
Old
downtown.
Town as the real city.
That's a Game of Thrones city.
Really?
PP Township is in Ohio.
Really?
Yep.
Where the hell is PP Township?
It's in Ohio.
Well, where in Ohio? Ohio's
I
big,
don't know.
Jay.
I don't know, but it's somewhere in Ohio.
Why does it feel like it's that sounds like it's a border town between like Ohio and Pennsylvania? PP Town?
We'll look
I
it
don't
up
know.
after the show. But Old Town is where it's the house of the Citadel, and the Citadel is where all the scholars hang out. It's like the smart city. It's like you go there, you get your
All the
education.
intellectuals are there.
Yeah, all the
Got
intellectuals
it.
are there.
Christ. All right, so don't use logic, Puma.
Well, you never know, man. Bravos or intercourse.
Which one doesn't make the most amount of sense? Bravos or intercourse? I'm gonna go Bravos. It's the real city.
Nope.
Jesus.
Intercourse, Pennsylvania is a real place. It was actually on Grand Tour or Top Gear, one of those shows. I forget which one it is, but Jeremy Clarkson, Richard May.
Oh, I could see Jeremy Clark having a blast with that name.
Speaking of which, they're changing up Grand Tour. They had their last show last night on Amazon. It came out with the tent and the show as we know it, where there's an actual like audience and like they actually got emotional. After 17 years, the show is radically changing where there's not going to be an audience anymore. It's just going to be a lot of like big specials that go out and do like travel the world.
That's BS. Okay.
Yeah. No, actually, I think it's smart. I hated all those parts where there was like audience and like celebrities fucking chiming in for no reason. I want to see them go out there and fuck shit up.
Okay. There we go.
All right. Where we at? So Bravos was the wealthiest city in Game of Thrones. Bravos. That's where all the banks are located. They control everything. You know.
Oh, sweet. So Wall Street.
Basically, yeah.
Got it.
River Run or Rabbit Hash.
River Run? Final
is a real city?
Yeah.
That's a Game of Thrones city.
What the hell? Oh
Which
my
is
God.
where House Tully presides, which is another family. And Rabbit Hash is in Kentucky. Can you believe some of these names,
Christ.
bro?
You for real?
I'm for real. Right.
And to think the writer of Game of Thrones came out and was, blasting the OBJ trade.
Right. Was he really?
Oh, yeah.
What did he say?
He did a blog being like...
Wow. He watches football?
Yeah. Dude, like, you can just Google it, like, Game of Thrones writer OBJ trade. And
really?
He did, like, a whole blog post about it.
I assume he's probably a Giants fan if he's...
Of course. Oh, yeah.
Him.
Yeah. I mean, I can't remember the title of the blog post, but I do know that it just seemed he was a dyed-in-the-wool, Giant fan. So, Jesus, nice. I'm doing penance for my stance on Dave Gettleman. All right, here we go. What's next?
All right, last one. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Fork of Salmon or Winterfell?
Fort of Salmon is a real city.
Yes.
Winterfell.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
I remember that name.
Forks of Salmon is in California. Winterfell is where House of Stark resides. It's
Jesus
where Jon
Christ.
Robert Stark, all those guys go.
You know what I was just there? I was the Chris Davis of the Game of Thrones knowledge.
Who's Chris Davis?
So he's I want to say he's a first baseman or DH for the Baltimore Orioles. Long story short, up until recording today, he was 0 for 52 since last season. So he didn't get a base hit for 52 at bats essentially up until today.
How much money is he making?
He's one of the highest paid people on the Baltimore Orioles roster.
And it's fully guaranteed?
Baseball's fully guaranteed. So it's one of the worst signings, in my opinion, in baseball history. And he just went 0 for 52. They were on the road in Boston. They were playing in Fenway. He got a hit, and essentially both the Red Sox fans, and his own teammates gave him a standing ovation.
Oh my God.
And he asked for the ball.
That's so fucked up.
That's bad.
Wow.
But I guess you can applaud, like, he's got a little sense of humor about it,
Sure.
but that's just insane. Like, you're 0 for 52. You're one of the highest paid people on that roster. So, and that's what I was with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, man.
Damn.
Dude, I tell you what, that's all I have for the cities, but I tell you what, I'm super excited, man. There's so much hype around this thing, man. Like I was telling you earlier, like I've seen big events for like movies.
Right.
But this is like a global event for a show. Like I'm talking like AT&T, Mountain Dew, like Oreos, anywhere you look, there's sponsorships on their products with Game of Thrones, right? On top of that, like, the country of Ireland had an Instagram post, and I can send it to you, where they were saying, this is where Game of Thrones is shot. Come visit us. Like that's the magnitude we're at, where it's a global event. So I'm super excited, dude.
Yeah, well, more power to you.
And my like, listen, like everybody thinks it's gonna be Jon Snow is gonna win it all, right? So the whole premise is who's gonna come out on top and win the Iron Throne, right? And it's easy to say Khaleesi or Jon Snow's gonna come out on top, but if I had to guess, it's gonna be somebody we don't expect. They're gonna throw us for a loop. You know what I'm saying? And and I'm saying it now. I first of all, I want Cersei Lannister to win. I want the fucking badass that she is to come out on top.
The Iron Throne is what rules everything. Yeah.
The Iron Throne is, if you sit on the Iron Throne, you control it all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if I had to guess, I think what's his name? Tyrion Lannister is going to come out on top. He's like the short midget.
Got it.
You know what I'm saying? So,
you know what that sounds like?
What's up?
The NFL draft. That's like less than 2 weeks away. That's what it sounds like.
I know, right?
Who is going to sit on the Iron Throne of the NFL? The 2019 NFL Draft.
You know what I've been working on? What? I've been working on my Vince McMahon deep growl.
Oh Christ!
I've been working on it just because like I want to like sound like him. You know, I just love how like intense he gets. And I was doing it like a week ago, and after I was done practicing for like 5 minutes, I felt like I had throat cancer. It was that like intense in my.
Or just smoke like 3 cartons of Virginia Slims, and you'll get like. Can we hear a growl? Can we get a growl before we get to the news?
Oh, the
Vince.
You're fired.
Poncho Cheema, you're fired.
There we go. That's where it's at. Yeah. Let's get some football, man. We are a pro football podcast.
Jesus. I mean, where do we start, Jay?
Oh
we going to Pittsburgh? We going to Green Bay?
Jesus Christ. It doesn't matter at this point.
I mean,
all just prima donnas everywhere.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
I mean, what do you want to go with? The low hanging fruit? We can go with AB.
Let's start with AB because that got me more pissed off than the whole Aaron Rodgers thing.
I mean, where do we start? I mean, AB, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday, he came out with an Instagram post showing a DM that JuJu Smith-Schuster sent him in, I believe, 2015 when he was on the USC Trojans in college, essentially asking for advice to improve his game. He thought AB was essentially like a stand-up person in the community, and he figured that AB could provide some guidance to this young wide receiver. And everybody on Twitter said that AB looks like a complete dumbass.
So stupid.
And like,
so stupid.
And it puts JuJu over in the court of public opinion. And like that whole post almost makes like Ben Roethlisberger look a little justified in some of his things. Like he put the entire Pittsburgh Steelers organization over the court of public opinion. Like if I was AB, if I wanted to drag JuJu through the mud, I would find anything besides a complimentary DM post that a college wide receiver sent me.
I thought about this for quite a bit of time. He's delusional.
Right.
He's devoid of reality. And here's my take on it. Antonio Brown is not a good teammate. Simply put, he's not. Right? It's starting to dawn on me that he's all about himself. AB is about AB. Right?
Right.
I used to be on his side. I used to say, you know what? Let's look at Tomlin. I'm sure he.
Likewise,
right?
we've been well documented
right?
saying that.
Oh, look at Big Ben on radio talking shit about AB.
Right.
But dude, you are making yourself look so bad, especially when JuJu, right? Yeah, sure. So you blasted him for fumbling a season away when he was in New Orleans,
right?
And he fumbled, and he came out the next day saying it's all on me. JuJu took full responsibility.
Right, he owned it.
But now you're kicking a man while he's down, like in his worst moment as a pro. You're bringing that up as like something against him, even though he's like said it is my fault. I'll get better. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that aspect right there shows me he is a shitty teammate.
Well, the fucked up thing is before he came out with that whole, like, the first salvo against JuJu, he put a post up on Twitter saying, leave your emotions off social media, right? And then there's one fan sends him a screenshot of JuJu winning the Steelers team MVP award, and then apparently that set AB off the rails. It's like, okay, like you're saying, keep your emotions off the internet, but the one time a fan sends like a screenshot of JuJu winning the team MVP, like that's what gets you unhinged?
And it's something that I think it's because we like JuJu. He's a young kid. From what we understand, he hasn't done anything stupid. He hasn't done anything wrong. He's just asking for advice when he was younger at USC. The story that I love the most is he went out and laid out Vontaze Burfict in retaliation for what Vontaze did to AB a year before that.
Yep.
And that just shows you that he will stick up for you. And then you turn around and say what you said about it. JuJu, like, it's just stupid. Right? And it leads to my point that...
And JuJu was genuinely happy that AB got a new contract.
Yeah, dude, he was genuinely happy. And it's just that Brown is just so unhinged and just devoid of reality that he can't seem to remember that JuJu stuck up for him at one point, right? So he's just not a good teammate, bro.
Do you think this is almost AB, like if you think of it in like terms of a relationship, like, you broke up with someone and like, but you're that guy that just doesn't want to let go?
I've never been through a breakup.
I mean, okay,
never
fine.
been through a relationship.
But what I'm saying is you would have thought that AB wasn't signed. He was a free agent. He was pissed off that the Steelers didn't bring him back. Antonio Brown... he got a new contract with the Oakland Raiders, and he is carrying on.
Move on.
He's carrying on like he's still on the team, and like whatever that team does to move on from him, like he's going to be pissed off about it. Like at some point, if you're a teammate in that Oakland Raiders locker room, you have to start questioning: do you even want to be here?
Good luck, John Gruden.
It's not even that. Like, there's there's John Gruden and then there's Mike Mayock. There are two big personalities. Mm-hmm. And then you have Donald Penn, the offensive lineman in that locker room that was willing to fight a fan at the end of a Raiders game. And here you are looking like you're not ready to move on from Pittsburgh, where you're now the highest paid wide receiver in the NFL again for the third friggin' time.
Dude, and I was thinking about this, and I don't want to say this because I was like, this is something really extreme if I say it. But I thought about it quite a bit. I thought about his live stream in the locker room where he put Tomlin on blast, right? On top of that, like all the bullshit that came this year before he got traded. He didn't show up to week 17. He left his team hanging when you're still in the playoff hunt.
Right?
Like, come on, dude. On top of that, just putting JuJu on blast and all the stuff that comes with him. I can honestly say he is just as bad as T.O.
I can say he's worse than T.O.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, really?
Absolutely. Because, all right, you have T.O., like, he's doing his fucking, like, faux workout in his driveway, which, by the way, Terrell Owens' agent is also Antonio Brown's agent, Drew Rosenhaus.
Well, then Drew Rosenhaus is already his agent, right?
Right. But at the end of the day, like, it's kind of, convenient that, like, he also represented T.O., but just, like, at least fucking T.O. played the Super Bowl on a broken leg.
Yeah.
Like, I can't see AB doing that.
I can't. Absolutely not.
Like, no. At the end of the day, like what Skip Bayless liked to call T.O. is team obliterator. Like, at the end of the day, when the game mattered and his team needed Terrell showed up.
Sure.
Whether or not it was the Super Bowl or in that when he was with the 49ers and he caught that game-winning touchdown to win, I think it was a spot in the playoffs where he got obliterated in the end zone. Like, T.O. was willing to put his body on the line for the team.
Of course.
I don't think AB's that dude.
Really?
I don't think so. If you're willing to put your entire team and your former team rather, with JuJu, who's hands down the most nicest and coolest guy in the NFL.
I'm a fan of JuJu. I am.
Like, I'm willing to buy a JuJu Smith-Schuster jersey right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the court of public opinion, you just put the Steelers over it, you put JuJu over it, you put Mike Tomlin over, you put Big Ben over.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, Big Ben just looks a little bit justified in what he did with Antonio Brown.
Antonio, move on, bro.
Right.
Like,
you're with a new team.
Move on. Like, you're on a new team. You got what you want. You are supposedly happy at this point from what you wanted. You got. You apparently you have some sort of relationship with Derek Carr. There's all kinds of Instagram videos out there with you guys hanging out. As soon as you got there, just move on, bro. Like, maybe he has buyer's remorse right now. Maybe he's like, shit. Well, maybe
I shouldn't have left.
Maybe I shouldn't have left. Maybe I should have acted more like a normal person.
That's what I'm thinking.
And that has to be it because he's lashing out big time, man. He's unhinged. He's devoid of reality, bro.
And in a rebuilding locker room in Oakland/Las Vegas, that's a bad dude. Like, there's no doubt of Antonio Brown's talent. There's no question. But personality-wise, you do not want that guy in a rebuilding locker room.
Antonio's one of those guys, and I'm going to bring this up during Aaron Rodgers as well. Winning isn't everything. He wants to win, but if he's contributing and getting his 10 catches and getting his 2 touchdowns per game, whatever numbers he wants,
right?
He's one of those guys where, hey man, if I'm not getting my way or my looks, I'm gonna be pissed off. You know, right. I'm not gonna be a good team guy. And on top of that, with Derek Carr not being Big Ben, how is that going to affect Antonio Brown and his mood and his mentality halfway through the season when he's not getting those looks? Let's call for what it is. The Steelers are going to be better than the Raiders this year, simply put.
Oh, no doubt. When
will Antonio Brown implode? I'm going to say like week 8, halfway through the season.
Week 8?
Yeah.
If he's not getting his looks, I'll go. I mean, the schedule hasn't been released yet, right?
Not yet. I'm waiting.
I'm going to go. That's a hard division too. Mm-hmm. I'll go week 3. That's quick. Like week 2 is like 1 and 2 is the honeymoon period. But if he's not getting his looks by week 3 or week 4, man, you're gonna see him starting yelling at people. And I want to see him go toe to toe with John Gruden.
Oh, Chucky's not gonna have that. You know that, right? You know, John Gruden's gonna be like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah, I mean, they gave
Dude, he traded away Khalil Mack. I'm sure he'll trade away Antonio Brown if he has to. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, all I'm saying is, pressure's on you, Antonio. You got what you wanted. Now you're talking all this shit. You better produce, homie.
No doubt.
You got 3
and that's
years.
A hard division.
Dude. Listen, if you don't produce, Antonio, you're done. You're done, bro. Simply put, nobody's gonna want you. You know what I'm saying?
Because I mean, you got Kansas City, and granted, you're still trying to figure out the whole Tyreek Hill situation, but then you have, you know, the sage, I guess you could say himself, and Phillip Rivers and the Chargers, and Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, they're not going anywhere. Melvin Gordon's not going anywhere. And then Denver, they just got Flacco, and they're just trying to figure out their whole aerial attack. And now you have like a whole rebuilding team that's 1 foot out the door to Las Vegas in a rebuilding locker room. No, I don't want.
Yeah, those guys are coming last in that division. Simply put,
no doubt.
Patrick Mahomes is gonna light it up. Chiefs are gonna win that division.
If anyone's gonna police that locker room, Donald Penn is gonna police that locker room.
Chargers are gonna win. Are gonna be second, probably maybe vying for a wild card spot. Denver probably 8-8. I think they'll be middle post.
But it's fine as long as AB gets 12 catches, 200 yards, and 3 touchdowns like he did in the Saints game. They'll be fine.
Yeah, the egos are so big in the NFL nowadays. I don't know if this is because of social media or how you have your sponsorships or your brand, whatever it is that gets you to a point where your ego gets so massive that winning isn't enough. Is an issue. Simply put, right? They always say New England.
I was just going to say, as a fan of football, the only exception to that rule is the New England Patriots, because Bill Belichick shuts that shit. You are not bigger than the team.
You put your ego you leave your ego at the front door, we're going to trade you away, simply put.
Right.
And it's something that the rest of the league hasn't been able to replicate. We thought that Pittsburgh was one of those teams that had the sound leadership to keep everybody in check, but apparently they don't. It's fucking roughshod.
Well, it is the most player-friendly locker room you are ever going to see in sports. I mean, it's insane. Like, they let you be yourself, which is fine. But at the end of the day, like, when you start branding yourself bigger than the team, Yo, I mean, look what happened to that running back that was on Sports Illustrated with the New England Patriots, and he started speaking up.
Gone.
His hat, like
Rashad Gray, was that his name? I forgot his name.
No, Jonas
Gray.
Jonas Gray.
Whatever
Jonas
it was.
Gray.
He went to Indianapolis. Got 4 touchdowns. Right.
200 plus yards.
Dude, amazing game. I was like, all right, we got our next to Garrett Blunt. You know what I'm saying?
Then he started speaking.
Oh, gone.
Belichick
Goodbye.
shut that down.
Goodbye. You know what I'm saying? The only person that can get away with that in the locker room is obviously Tom Brady, and deservedly so.
He doesn't even speak that much.
He doesn't, but behind the scenes stuff that he's done that, facilitate the trade of Garoppolo, which I totally agree with. You can do whatever you want with Tom Brady, but he has that right. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, that's it's a tricky situation in Pittsburgh, man. And every single day I wake up and I'm like, what's going to be new on the Real Housewives of Pittsburgh? That's what I call them.
Right. I mean, it's literally, as the Steelers turn. You just don't know what you're getting.
Right. And then there was that story about there was a running back that said that Big Ben fumbled on purpose, halfback, right? Fullback, whatever it was. And then a couple nights ago, Rashard Mendenhall came out and said Big Ben's a racist. Did you hear that as well?
Right. So I saw that screenshot you sent me. Mm-hmm. And then later on that evening, I went to Rashard's Twitter post. And, it's just like, okay, ESPN. Like, I know he just tweeted this out saying, okay, like, Big Ben's a racist and AB's black. Like, he has to catch a ball from a racist quarterback and whatever. But then later on, the last post that evening, Rashard Mendenhall kind of walked it back and made it sound like it was a snarky post. So it's like, yo, ESPN, it's 2019. Like, if you're going to put up there that somebody is or is not a racist, you better do your due diligence, man. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, say if we're like bigger than what we are right now, and I go out on Twitter and say, yeah, friggin' Poncho, he's the biggest racist I've ever seen. You're not going to be able to get that mark off you.
Of course not.
Ever.
Of course.
Like, no matter what you do, you're never going to be able to get that off of you. Like, the R word is such a strong thing to throw around, and such a, I guess you could say, an easy cop-out to any argument. Like, oh, you can chalk this up to so-and-so being a racist. And you can never walk that back. And no matter what you do, if you're on the receiving end of that, you're never going to get rid of that.
Of course not.
For the rest of your life, you're going to be known as, Ben Roethlisberger, the racist quarterback. Like, are you fucking kidding? You better, if you're coming to the table with racism, you better have concrete shit that cannot be refutable.
Of course. That word, you don't throw that around lightly.
No.
You better have some sort of backing, bro. You better have like 2-3 sources you can go to be like, yo, am I right about this or not?
Did Marquise Pouncey come out and say he was a racist? Oh, he didn't? Okay, then. Mm-hmm. Who else? Yeah. And if there's other people that come out there, like, say, Larry Foote or I forget the lineman that broke Carson Palmer's leg in that playoff game against the Bengals. Like, if one of those two guys come out and say, oh, yeah, Big Ben was a racist, okay, then it holds water. But if you're just like a no-name running back that I couldn't remember you from, no.
Yeah. At the end of the day, AB has to perform. On top of that, Big Ben has to perform as well a little bit. I mean, I know we're not giving him a pass here because he has done some things that are obviously not being a good teammate as well, but pressure's on him as well. And I think he will have a good season. I think if you're a fantasy football player, just pick him up. He's going to be something he's going to be a good quarterback this year. And then finally, JuJu, man. He looks like a
hero. He just got put over in the court of public opinion.
Of course, right? He's going to have a good year as well. So, I can't stress enough that I think Antonio Brown is a piece of shit now. Yeah. At the end of the day, I think he's a piece of shit, So.
Yeah. And then there's Green Bay, Jay.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like, Jesus. Just when you thought like one story could never die, you get this Bleacher Report article.
30 pages long, by the way.
What's up?
30 pages long, by the way.
It was a great report. Thorough. The guy, and like, it wasn't just like Jermichael Finley and, Greg Jennings. Mm-hmm. It was those two plus like 48 other sources that he used.
Yeah. 2 months. 2 months to write that report.
Yep. Bleacher Report came out with a fire and brimstone report on, Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers.
Well, before you finish that, Bleacher Report had a great couple of weeks. They broke that massive story on the Rodgers McCarthy scandal, and then they also broke the news on LeBron James and the Lakers. All the turmoil going on inside that locker room. They had a bunch of reporting on that as well. So.
Yep. Great reporting from Bleacher Report. But man, like, Tyler Dunn, he shook the beehive on this one.
Jesus
Like
Christ,
50 plus people. And, whether or not people were saying that Mike McCarthy was a buffoon. He skipped out on offensive meetings for massages. He was a fake tough guy. He was too proud to admit his offense was archaic once, say, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Donald Driver left. Then you have like the Rodgers side of never addressing issues directly. He'd rather do mid-game tantrums than actually having constructive conversations. He was self-entitled. He wasn't, from one former Packer scout, as smart as he thought he was.
Yeah. Rodgers strikes me one of those guys where he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room. And I hate those people.
Right. And it's just like, damn.
So, all right. Let's break this down. The main gist of the question I want to get to is, whose side are you on, right?
Right.
And I thought about this quite a bit. And I wanted to rail on Aaron Rodgers as much as possible. I wanted to be like, yo, dude, I hate you so much. I'm going to rail on you because of this. But I think it's McCarthy's fault here, bro. Listen, I get it. Aaron Rodgers is a prima donna, simply put. He is who he is. He's not somebody that's going to be a good teammate. He's not going to be a Tom Brady. He's going to, just like Antonio Brown, he wants to win, but he wants to win when he's throwing 4 touchdowns and he gets credit, right? But McCarthy, dude, and I've seen this. The reason why I'm leaning towards McCarthy is because I've seen this in games. I've seen the stale offense where it didn't ever evolve, The offense of, hey, we won 1 Super Bowl with this. We're not going to evolve because this is what I think is going to win again for the 2nd Super Bowl. On top of that, he's not tough on players. You just saw what Antonio Brown did when you gave him a little bit of leeway,
Right.
On top of that, the low IQ part, that's something that I agree with. Because if you're not smart enough to evolve in the NFL, then you really don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? The reason why the Patriots evolve week from week to week is because every single game is different, right?
Right.
And all those things bothered Rodgers. And I know that he shouldn't get a pass here, it's something that he had to come to terms with and still be a good teammate and still take McCarthy's message and send it to the rest of the team. But he wasn't buying in either. And when the whole dysfunction comes from him not buying in and kind of undermining McCarthy's orders, if that makes sense.
Right. But you almost have to reframe this as, who do you believe? Do you believe Aaron Rodgers' response, or do you believe, Tyler Dunn's reporting on Bleacher Report? Because Aaron Rodgers came out and was like, none of this happened. Like, he only attacked 2 parts of the story, like the GM part, and then the Greg Jennings and Jermichael Finley bit. But when you come out and you say you need to honor Mike McCarthy the way he deserves it. If you see Mike McCarthy on the street, you need to shake his hand. And it's like, okay, well, you could have said this 5-6 months ago when Mike McCarthy was in the crosshairs to keep his job. Mm-hmm. So don't come out here and say everything that Bleacher Report that they're saying against Mike is disrespectful and untrue when you're the main reason why Mike McCarthy's out of a job right now.
Exactly, right? And listen, Aaron Rodgers never got over the fact that Mike McCarthy took Alex Smith over Aaron Rodgers.
Well, to that point, Mike McCarthy was an offensive coordinator.
Sure.
So typically, unless San Francisco was bucking the trend and had an offensive coordinator make that draft pick, it's the general manager, the owner, and the head coach.
But Aaron Rodgers believed it was Mike McCarthy, and that's big. When you're delusional and you believe that somebody did you wrong, then that, no matter, all the other facts don't matter. It doesn't matter that the general manager stepped in or the owner stepped in with that pick or whoever it was that picked Alex Smith. It doesn't matter because Aaron Rodgers sees it as you, Mike McCarthy, didn't pick me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when you're at that point, then the relationship is not going to work down the road, right? When you have that mistrust from the beginning, it's not going to work. That's what
right.
I think that might be the root cause of all the dysfunction.
Right. But at the same time, that's assuming I'm buying Tyler's story that, he was pissed that Mike McCarthy made the pick himself. Because that's what it kind of painted as, and that's kind of what Aaron Rodgers addressed. And it's just he's an offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. That's like saying, okay, how can I frame this? Offense coordinator wise, Marcus Mariota was mad that Matt LaFleur was on a different staff and picked like Jameis Winston ahead of him, and then he came to Tennessee to be his offensive coordinator. That makes no damn sense.
I know it doesn't, but what I'm trying to get at is Aaron Rodgers, from what we understand, doesn't have the best mindset as well. Everything that you see and hear that he's not the best of teammates, he's insecure, this and that. Right. I can see this being accurate. I can see this story being true. I can buy that too, you know?
Because like the whole world could see like him being pissed off at McCarthy, like them almost having a fist fight in Cincinnati, and then all this like I think that last season the New England Patriots game with one wide receiver looked like he was off the page with Aaron Rodgers, that same guy came out in the Bleacher Report article being like, okay, Mike McCarthy said one thing, but Aaron Rodgers told me to do a different route. Like, what do? I want to get a football.
And that right there is big. When you undermine the coach, when you don't have one unison voice coming down,
right,
then you're fucked. It's not going to work regardless.
Right.
It's leadership 101. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And like, there's a point where Peyton Manning, when he was with Indianapolis, like he called his own plays. Like there was an offensive coordinator.
That's okay.
But like, at the end of the day, he went up to the line and he called his own plays, which, okay, fine, whatever. Tom Brady, I'm assuming at this point in his career, he does the same thing. Like maybe Belichick will call in a play or two and then Brady can frame whatever he wants.
Where I understand, Belichick doesn't really have much of an input.
It's really McDaniels
it's McDaniels and Brady sit down during the week and they put the game plan together, what they want to attack, strengths and weaknesses, and then whatever Brady sees on the field, he runs with at that point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And in Green Bay, it seemed like the offense was built around Aaron Rodgers improving a lot, and one or two plays might be called in, and Aaron Rodgers would decide what he liked. But at some point, you have to figure that if you're not doing what Mike McCarthy is calling in as suggestions, that's got to be a problem.
Yep.
At some point,
That's massive, dude.
Like. At some point, Mike McCarthy has to be calling in the right play. Like he's the second most winning head coach in NFC history, second most winning head coach in Green Bay Packer history, behind Curly Lambeau. Like he's got to be calling in the right shit. I'm just saying. Like I'm leaning a little bit more towards the Bleacher Report article of Aaron Rodgers being that guy.
Sure. And the only reason why I would love to reel on Rodgers. You know me, I'm not a big fan of Rodgers. I kind of hate him in a way. His cockiness, his attitude. He's won one Super Bowl. He thinks he's God's gift to fucking quarterback and whatever. But I cannot physically see with my own eyes inside the locker room because I'm not in the locker room. Right. But what I can see is the stale fucking offensive play calling. The two quarterbacks that have the biggest disservice in the NFL last couple of years was Aaron Rodgers, with the lack of creativity on offense, and Cam Newton. Cam Newton, if he had a Shanahan or somebody like a Josh McDaniels, would be running some amazing. Maybe this is just me talking because I hang out with Boots quite a bit, and
but you're right.
But I do see those stale offenses. Even the Patriots' offense is a lot more complex and progressive than Aaron Rodgers' offense. So, I wish I could rail on Aaron Rodgers, but I do believe that there are some facts here that Mike McCarthy was stuck in his ways, did not evolve. And when that happens, everything else doesn't matter because you're not winning, and winning is king.
Right. And I'll end my point on this is, besides the over-the-topness of his radio interview of, if you see Mike McCarthy on the street, shake his hand and give him the respect.
Well, push all that shit aside.
In the Monday or Tuesday interview at his locker, when the Green Bay Packers reported to the training facilities for OTAs, a reporter came out and straight up asked him, are you willing to take some blame in the relationship that, between you and Mike McCarthy, essentially? Like, are you willing to take some blame in that relationship souring? And he completely brushed it off. And I listened to that radio interview one more time before recording, and one of the guys, I can't remember if it was Wilde or Tausch, asked him essentially the same question, and he completely sidestepped that issue.
Yeah.
So if you're this stand-up guy that's, you don't want your leadership questioned, if someone's asking you a blunt question of whether or not you are willing to take blame in this not working, it's a simple yes or no.
Sure.
But your silence is just a subconscious way of saying, no, I'm not taking ownership. It's all Mike McCarthy's fault.
Yeah.
No.
Well, regardless, the three players in the NFL next year that have the biggest spotlight on them is Antonio Brown, Big Ben, and Aaron Rodgers.
No doubt.
If you're a fantasy football player, like we are, pick up Aaron Rodgers and pick up Big Ben. Those two are going to tear it up.
No doubt.
So
no doubt.
Yeah, man.
So on a Twitter poll, I put up
what's up?
Of what would be a more entertaining cage match, AB and JuJu, or Mike McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers.
Now the cage match, is it just strictly cage match, or is it like ladders and chairs? It might have been
like, you know, I think I framed it as like Hell in a Cell.
Hell in a Cell. That's where it's at. Hell in a Cell. Yep.
So Twitter said AB JuJu.
Of course, yeah.
Dude, I'm going.
He's an old man.
No, but hear me out.
To my professional football player.
Mike McCarthy strikes me as a Bubba Ray Dudley kind of guy, and Aaron Rodgers might be like the Edge type character. So like Bubba Ray Dudley, you know, with the Dudley Boys, we're talking about like hardcore people, man, all the way back to the ECW days. I kind of want to see Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy. I want to see, you know, Edge versus Bubba Ray in a Hell in a Cell.
The only way I can see Mike McCarthy winning is if he has like Rikishi in his corner. Rikishi tag teams and puts a little stink face on Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, I will say one of my favorite matches in the Hell in a Cell was Undertaker Triple H with Shawn Michaels as a special guest referee a couple of years ago. And I mean, that was dope. I mean, Triple H, right before he got pinned, did like the suck it thing. Like he was barely standing up and it was like, oh, like the coup de grace. Like this is going to be the hill he's going to die on. Suck it, Undertaker gets pile drived.
Oh my God.
That was a great match.
Dude, who's your favorite wrestler growing up?
My favorite wrestler, I was a WCW kid.
Oh, here we
so
go. Always
I was a Sting, Wolfpack, Sting guy. That was my dude.
You remember the ECW for a little bit?
No, he was a WCW guy all the way up to the buyout.
Oh, but do you remember the ECW for a little bit as well?
With Paul Heyman and
Mick Foley, right?
Sandman and Tommy Dreamer and Sabu. Man.
Dude, I was a Rock fan all the way through.
This fucking guy.
You look at me, you're going mainstream, right?
It's fine. Nobody's perfect.
And then I loved Kurt Angle for some reason. I don't know why. I absolutely loved Kurt Angle.
Best Kurt Angle match was when he put Shane McMahon through the plate glass in King of the Ring like 3 times. And then he was asking the referee to help him. And the referee's like, hell no. You bring him to the ring yourself.
And I remember there was a little storyline when Kurt Angle... he was trying to date Stephanie McMahon because, like, I guess Triple H and Stephanie McMahon were like dating.
They're actually married.
They're actually married in real life, but like in the context of the storyline, they were like together, and Kurt Angle was trying to like get in there. It was hilarious, dude.
Right,
absolutely hilarious.
Man, that was back in the day when you could show blood and all that other nonsense.
And then Mr. McMahon comes out. Look at it.
Oh Christ!
Look at him.
Jesus.
Speaking of Vince McMahon, he is starting up the XFL.
Yep.
And his pathway to the XFL being successful is easy now because the crap subpar AAF is fucking gone. Hallelujah, people. The AAF is done. We haven't talked about it in a couple weeks because the Puma was away, and God, I was so ready. I was so fired up when I saw that news come through. I was like, that's what you get. Can't even make it through a fucking season.
Well, if you look at the football product, the product worked because 40 plus players, I believe, are currently on NFL rosters, 5 or 6 of which are on my Miami Dolphins with Ken Farrow. He led 1 week in rushing with almost 200 rushing yards, and the AAF sacks leader, he was on the San Antonio Commanders roster as well too. So like with 40 plus signings, you have to say, as a developmental league, the product worked. Sure. The football obviously worked. Sure. The football was good enough for fans to tune in. So like the ratings were going toe to toe with almost mainstream media things on primetime television. I don't buy that.
You've said that 3-4 times now, but if it was that successful, why is it not around? And we'll get to that, the whole business plan part of it. But I'm tired of you just saying that you don't look at the whole picture. The whole picture.
No, I do get the whole picture, Jay, but you can't say that 40 plus people on an NFL roster does not prove that the product worked.
The AF product in total was crap.
Right, we can all agree. No, but we can agree.
It didn't take. The consumers didn't buy into it, simply put.
We can agree that the business plan didn't work, but clearly the ratings prove that, where they were going toe-to-toe with mainstream media on Saturday and Sunday nights. And you were selling out the Alamo Dome. You were increasing people attending games in Birmingham, and even crap places like Arizona was showing an increase in fan attendance. So you can't sit there and say that league was trash when obviously the fans were showing up, the fans were tuning into the games, and you have 40 plus people on NFL rosters. We can all agree that the business plan was shit, but you can't discredit the league for not working.
I think if more people tuned in, it would be here still. Simply put, if Dundon saw that you can actually make money with this, it would still be here. Simply put, people don't send cash cows away, right? And you said in the last podcast that the AAF is a cash cow and Roger Goodell and the NFL should jump on it.
Yeah,
but it's not. Simply put,
especially with the gambling aspect. But if Dundon was a smart businessman or investor, he would have realized that the Johnny Manziel game was going to be right before Final Four. So if you wanted to get funding, you were going to get advertisements for people to tune in to watch this game on CBS.
So the reason why he pulled the plug was because he was hemorrhaging $10 million a week. He lost $70 million already. And to finish out the season, he would lose $20 more million in 2 more weeks of football play, right? The league is a cash bleed. It was simply just bleeding cash left and right. It was not successful one bit. The TV ratings and TV deals, there was no deals. There was no right fees. Like CBS wasn't paying the AAF any sort of ad revenue or anything. They were taking most of those ad revenues for themselves. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be surprised if the AAF was paying CBS to get the games on national TV. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But we also discussed that out of all the leagues that you want, that are, if you're ever going to start up a league, a football league is going to be the hardest. You have 52-man rosters. You have the front office people. You have the trainers.
My biggest point is a secondary NFL league will not simply work in America. You know what I'm saying? We've seen it many times over now. The reason why the college football succeeds is because they don't pay their players.
To that point, though, I mean, clearly it worked because there's 40 plus people.
It did not work. It's folded, dude. It's done. There's no secondary football league.
They're not folded. They're suspended.
Oh, come on.
They're
Brandon,
one investor away. But no, like, if you're sitting there, as business savvy as you are, you have to understand, like Charlie Ebersol came out and said, we're not going to turn a profit in 3 years. So like, you're going to be bleeding money. You have to pay arena rentals. You have to pay the concession people. You have to pay the beat writers. It's not just like players that lost jobs and front office people. I've been talking to Cole Thompson on Twitter. He's out of a job and he was the beat reporter for the San Antonio Commanders. So there are so many people that are out of jobs right now, or people that uprooted their families to live in hotel rooms right now that are paid through April with this possibility of having 3 years of a contract with this league. And one of two things is going to happen. Either the NFL was going to invest in this league.
They were not going to.
Or they were just going to outright buy it. Because if you look at that gambling app, there was money to be made, especially with legalizing gambling in New Jersey and all around the country right now. That gambling app would have been the cash cow for the NFL.
We'll get to the gambling app in a second. But I thought about this for quite a bit. And I said, why did I not buy in? Like, Jay Cheema, you love football. Why did you not get into the AAF? And it took me until it folded to realize that I hated Charlie Ebersol. Everything about him I didn't like. His interview that I saw, his cockiness, his bravado, his whatever aura he gave off, I didn't like one bit. The reason why I'm so excited about the XFL is because I fucking love Vince McMahon.
Yeah, but he's as cocky as anyone.
Exactly, but Vince McMahon, we grew up with WWE. Like, it's in us. And I can't explain to you why I like Vince McMahon over Charlie Ebersol. But looking at Charlie Ebersol, and on top of that, Charlie Ebersol gave off the aura that he's the smartest guy in the room. When he really wasn't, simply put, right? Reports came out that he had cash for a couple of weeks for the first 2 weeks of the AAF season.
I'll address that issue in a minute, but finish your point.
And his whole business plan was he was going to get 2 weeks on TV and hopefully attract more investors, right? Hopefully attract more people to come to the AAF, see how great this product is, and then go from there. Now, apparently Tom Dundon stepped in after week 1 or 10 days or whatever it was and said, here's your $20-50 million. And at that point, he just stopped trying to recruit more investors. He said, all right, well, here it is. This is never going to fail. Here's my $20-50 million. Let me just stop looking for more investors. And then the biggest issue was he gave Dundon full control. Like, listen, I get it. You put that much money into your league. you have to give him some sort of happy feeling in his stomach that this is my product, but he gave him full control of the league. Like, how stupid is that?
Right. To counter that, though, Monday Morning Quarterback Podcast, Albert Breer and Connor Orr, they did a little quick special last night, and I listened to it this afternoon, that the AAF had a gentleman, they didn't name who it was.
I forget his name, yeah. He pulled out right before the league started. Yeah.
But here's the thing. They were going to get $100 million investment from this guy. Most of it was going to be brought up front at league start. But the issue was the rest of that money was in offshore accounts. Now, if you're going to get a gigantic wire transfer in that amount of cash, it has to clear Homeland Security. Sure. It has to clear other banking institutions. That's going to take weeks. So when week 1 or week 2, when they had that payroll issue, which one, maybe that was legit with the company.
That was legit. No, now it is legit. You got to admit that much, Brandon, that was real.
Right. The payroll company. Yeah. Okay. I can say that was legit, but then you also have to realize that if you have to go through all these hoops to get money from offshore accounts with Department of Homeland Security and other banking institutions and all that other nonsense, it's going to take time. And then here you have Tom Dundon, who's based in the U.S. His money, for the most part, was based here. He's been established as an NHL guy. There's no question. Okay, we're going to take your cash.
Of course. No, I get that. Listen, you can't turn away money. I get that. But one, why do you not go out there and have a plan B and try to recruit some more investors just in case this goes sour, which it did, right? And B, do you give him full control, right? Like when you invest in Google, when let's say Mark Zuckerberg didn't have the money he has and if somebody came in and gave him a bunch of money, he's still an investor. He doesn't get full control of Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Like, this right here was stupid business. Simply put, he was dumb with what he did. Now let's get to the gambling app.
Because I think he just came in to try to get the gambling app.
He tried. Simply put, looking at what it is, Tom Dundon is a piece of shit.
But
he's a shark. Through and through, he's a shark.
But here's the thing. Like, one of two things has happened. Either Charlie Ebersol and Bill Polian did not open their books to this guy that was going to invest in $250 million, or Dundon saw the books, saw the technology app, and said, I'll take my chances. So one of two things happened.
So a lot was made that Dundon got into the AAF because he wanted the gambling app. Turns out MGM holds the licenses to that gambling app. Mm-hmm. So Dundon invested $70 million and walked away with nothing.
You got to look under the hood.
Sure, but where did that get you? Is that worth $70 million?
I mean, how else was he going to get it? He wasn't going to get it if he didn't invest in the league. If that's the ultimate motive of being the corporate raider that he may or may not be, is investing in this league.
Here's what I think happened. I think Charlie Ebersol was stupid. I think Dundon was stupid. It's just one big stupid league, simply put. Like, there's just a lot of stupid going around here, and it crashed and burned. And you know what's funny? I was actually going to buy in. I was, you know what? I was like, Brandon's been harping about this. Let me try to watch a game. I did before it folded that weekend. We were texting about it. And listen, I still believe it's crap football. I saw a quarterback throw a wide open receiver. He threw a football and he missed him by like 5 yards. You know what I'm saying? That's my opinion. It is what it is. But I was ready to like, all right, you know what? Maybe this thing will stick around. It's been 8 weeks. From what Brandon tells me, it's going great, right? But this thing crashed and burned again didn't get through one season. One season again, it couldn't get through.
Right, but you're also assuming that Dundon really believed that the 52nd man on an NFL roster was going to save this league.
Well, he thought that for some
he was
reason.
Just trying to speed. It was one of two things. Either he was just trying to warp speed the NFL agreeing to, and the NFLPA agreeing to loaning practice squad people.
We talked about this last week. They were never going to agree.
Well, the issue besides that is you also have to amend the collective bargaining agreement before the CBA is.
Right? Yeah.
But right before they folded, not only were AAF players caught off guard, NFLPA officials were caught off guard because they said them and Bill Polian had productive conversation.
But when you lose $10 million a week, can you afford to let it go on? You know
well, you have to understand whether, like, if you're in the business of making money now, starting or investing in the league is the worst opportunity you're ever going to have.
Of course. And that's why Vince McMahon is the winner of all of this.
Well, now the pressure is on. He's got to produce.
Yep. He sold off $280 million worth of WWE stocks to put fully into the XFL. He got a look into what was successful, what wasn't successful. And now the question is, First of all, I don't think. Listen, I'm not bashing on the AAF just because I like to bash on it. I also think the XFL will not succeed. The question is, how long will it make it through? Will it be 1 year? Will it be 2 years? I think max will be a year and a half, 2 years. Because he will stick it out for 1 year. Because Vince McMahon can't go back to folding on after 1 year again. He's going to have to see it through for at least 2 years.
Right. Well, he would have wrote it out for 2+ years, but NBC
he's
pulled the plug.
71. How much patience does he have? When you lose $10 million a week, like how much patience do you really have? So going in, he'll have to sit down and be like, listen, I'm going to lose this much money. It is what it is.
But you're also like, you have to look at, if you compare the AAF to XFL structure wise, the XFL have the WWE. They have Vince McMahon. Like, yeah, Charlie Ebersol and Bill Polian and a bunch of NFL Pro Bowlers and Hall of Famers were behind this league, but they didn't have structure until Tom Dundon came in. Sure. Granted, like Dundon, we can all agree that at recording now, why didn't Charlie Ebersol
and Bill Polian have structure before Dundon got in?
Well, they had a bunch of investors, but like I said, that one major guy, it was either they wait 6 weeks to get funding and they were going to be out of a job, or you take the $250 million that you're going to get. Like, you're business savvy, Jay. What are you going to do? Are you going to wait 6 weeks? Or are you going to take the $250 million that you get right now? I take $250
right now and I start working on plan B.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And he never worked on plan B. He didn't,
Well, when you're told that, you have enough, funding to last for 3 seasons, are you going to start looking?
Yeah. Of course. Plan B. Yeah, plan B, maybe plan C. You know what I'm saying? Why not?
But when you have Dundon saying, you got funding for the next 3 seasons.
Why believe him? He's a shark. He's a con man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
who knows?
Maybe I'm more like, I don't believe people at first sight. I kind of have to feel them out. But regardless, I was thinking about the XFL and I was thinking year 2, how he's losing a bunch of money. Vince McMahon, right? And could you imagine his accountant coming and telling Vince McMahon, this is how much money you've lost? Could you imagine that? Why don't you be the accountant? I'll be Vince McMahon. Or just be like, Mr. McMahon, you're losing this much money. We can role play real quick. And Vince McMahon would just come out and be like, what?
Hey, Vince, you just lost $20 million the last 2 weeks.
You're fired.
Wow.
Could you imagine that poor accountant?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, man. So yeah, man. I'm glad it's gone. I know you're not happy, and I feel.
It's not even just that. It's just like the fact that it just looks like on the surface. Granted, there's going to be more coming out in litigation. A couple of players filed a class action lawsuit against the AAF, but clearly the football product worked. You have 40+ players signed to NFL contracts right now. Fans were tuning in. There seems to be a market for supplementary football. And I mean, even if you look, but you can scoff, but like, look at the XFL requirements. 1, Johnny Manziel's never going to play in that league just based on eligibility requirements. And 2, they're opening up the floodgates to let college players come play in their league, get paid $200,000.
That's a smart move.
Kinda. I mean, do you want to forego possibly being a first-round draft pick out of Ohio State or Alabama, or do you some people are put in a bind where they have to provide for their families. Sure. We can all admit that college players are getting paid anyways. Mm-hmm. So do you want to get paid $200,000 from the XFL and not know what your future is, or do you want to ride it out with college and get a dorm room?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Regardless, I've made my feelings clear on it. I don't think even the XFL is going to work out. It's just the NFL's king. It has the revenue streams on top of that. College football doesn't have to pay its players. And they get these amazing fucking TV deals where I saw somewhere that each Big Ten school would get paid $54 million just in revenue from TV deals per year. That's insane. There's like 12 Big Ten.
Yeah, but that's not from the NFL though, right? That's just ESPN with the Big Ten. Okay.
Yeah. So so regardless, we'll see what happens. Hopefully the XFL, lasts a year, maybe 2, but we'll see. It is what it is. How long do you think the XFL will last?
I don't know, probably the season. Because then again, like Vince McMahon really just has to answer to himself. I mean, but then again, like the XFL, the pressure's on because not all the teams have a coaching staff. Not all the teams have a team name. Like, as far as I know, at recording right now, there isn't a TV deal in the works, and they're probably not going to stream on the WWE app because one of my friends, Bobby Bowler, we were talking about this on Twitter. They're probably going to want to distance the WWE from the XFL, so they're probably not going to be on the WWE app. Yeah. Who knows?
Did you see that the WWE was actually at the NFL Combine scouting potential wrestlers?
I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah, they were there. They were actually trying to pick up some talent.
I mean, Goldberg used to be with the Atlanta Falcons, so who knows?
Cool, man. Well, what else you want to get to?
I don't know, man. I mean, there's Josh Rosen.
Oh, God. The saga that is the Josh Rosen thing. Well, before we get to that, next week's podcast is going to be our mock draft.
Yep.
We're going to go pick by pick and do round one. It's going to be just 1 full hour of just talking about draft coverage. So they'll be ready to lead into the actual draft itself.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah.
Because I think at recording right now, we're 13 days away from the draft?
It's close, man.
It's going to be a good time.
Hopefully the schedule comes out this week as well.
Probably.
Nice.
Yeah. We got a lot of news to break. Might have to do 2 episodes. But Rosen.
Yeah.
Rosen. So Cliff Kingsbury came out on Tuesday. It was reported to have said that Josh Rosen is more athletic than people realize and can run his air raid offense much better than I can. Better athlete than I am, because Cliff Kingsbury used to be a quarterback. And then per Steve Weich of the NFL Network, Rosen was seen leaving the facilities later than the rest of the team. Clearly he's trying to air quote, show that he's trying to learn this offense. Like, what the hell is going on in the desert? Like, his trade value is dwindling because the Redskins are out of actively pursuing him. So, like, what do you do?
I saw that story where he was the first person to come into the facility, last person to leave, and that's just simply him trying to showcase for his next suitor. Simply put, he's just showcasing for his next team, man. I am convinced Arizona's going to go with Kyler Murray, especially with reports coming out this week that there are back channel talks between Arizona and Kyler Murray about a potential contract already, where Arizona wants to make sure there's some sort of clause that says you're going to play 2-3 years in the NFL. You can't just skip after the first year to baseball or whatever it is.
Right.
I'm fully convinced that Josh Rosen is done there. He's simply just playing the media, trying to play for his next suitor. Kyler Murray is going to be the next quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think Arizona's taking Murray. That's that in the AAF. Those are going to be the hills I'm willing to die on. I tell you what. Once
you buy in hard. You can't budge from your line of thinking once you buy in.
I mean, we could go back to the AAF if you want to, but it just from product wise, like it worked, and like from what I'm seeing with this draft
product
class,
wise, it did not work. 40 players somehow got lucky to get on an NFL roster. That's true, but product wise, it did not work.
Well, that's double what the player signings from the XFL, the first incarnation, was. So clearly,
the XFL wasn't a developmental league. They were trying to take on the NFL.
Well, still, there's 10, 15 guys that signed from the XFL.
I forget. It's been so long, dude.
To 40 plus.
Yeah.
But I mean, draft wise, this is a defense heavy draft. There's one of two things are going to happen. Either a team is going to take the best player available at their position, or they're going to talk themselves into loving a player that they really don't love.
Yeah.
And if it's a smart thing, I would say take the best person available, which to me would be either Quentin Williams or Nick Bosa or hell, even Ed Oliver, in the first couple of picks. Like, I don't really love the quarterbacks in this draft. I mean, granted, like if I had a gun to my head and I had to pick Drew Lock, Dwayne Haskins, Kyler Murray, or Daniel Jones out of Duke, I'd probably just take Dwayne just because he's got the big arm. He can make the moves. Like,
and I'm glad you bring up Dwayne Haskins because he's taken a free fall, apparently. From all the media reports coming out, he is now the 4th best quarterback available, which makes no sense to me one bit, but whatever, it is what it is. I guess storyline sell, that's very whatever. Regardless, what the fuck was I trying to get at? My God.
Media driving hype and Dwayne falling.
Yeah, so Dwayne, It's funny how it's funny how this long, they move first of all, the NFL moved the draft back from March to April, right?
Mm-hmm.
It gives everybody more time to speculate into what's going on exactly. And I think that is the reason why you're seeing all of this. This is purely all the shooting up the draft board, shooting down the draft board. This is all purely a NFL, made product. The NFL put that extra time in between March and April for the draft to drum all this hype.
Right.
And that's benefited Kyle Murray, as we can see. He's supposed to be the number one overall pick, but it's also hurting Dwayne Haskins, where, he's going to be the fourth best quarterback taken, which I don't believe one bit. But it's simply just all this hype is what's driving all these players up or down. Like, I don't understand that how GMs will actually listen to what articles say. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I mean, there was one GM or one player, this is like eons ago, that came out and was like just bashing Mel Kiper, and it's just, I don't understand, because if we're looking at the same tape, Dwayne Haskins was more productive than Drew Lock, but like Drew Lock has the bigger personality, which to me, like, I don't want to draft the personality. I want to draft the person that's going to help my team. Like, so if I had to pick a quarterback, Dwayne is the guy for me. Granted, I would rather just get someone on defense in this draft and hedge my bets next year with the quarterbacks, but I don't know. And then, like, I could kind of see with his stock air quote falling, and then he shows up to Denver with like a throwback Elway jersey. Like, to me, you're just trying too hard.
Yeah.
Like, just be yourself, Dwayne. If you're going to get drafted in the 10th, like the top 10, more power to you. Yeah. If you fall to 13, and
dude, if
I've made no bones,
13,
I've made no bones about it on Twitter that if, the Dolphins were on the clock at 13, if they were able to take an offensive tackle, Jonah Williams out of Alabama, I'd be happy. But if Dwayne Haskins is on the board and they take Dwayne, I'm not going to be that upset either.
Sure.
So,
dude, you would be quite happy with Dwayne Haskins. Simply put, I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I'm not saying because I'm a homer. At one point he was.
No, the tape shows it.
Yeah.
Because I looked at tape of Drew Lock, and there's no way you could tell me Dwayne's better than him. And I've looked at a little bit of tape of Daniel Jones, and you can't tell me Daniel's better than him.
Dude, the best arm in the draft right now is Dwayne Haskins. Dude can throw it a country mile.
I saw it this morning. I think it was in the Big Ten championship. Dwayne, it was like 3rd and 20.
Yeah.
And he looked either a corner or safety off on the left-hand side, and then he threw a dime in the right end zone corner
right before the
for a touchdown.
Yeah, I remember that play.
It's like, that's a big league play. Yep. Like, you can't tell me those other three guys are going to make that play.
Plus, he has a Big Ben body, bro. He's like 6'4", 220. You can't take him down with one arm. Like Colin Murray, you can get one arm. I mean, he's on the fucking ground, So, whatever, man. It is what it is. Regardless, anything else you want to get to? Is that it?
I mean, we do have to plug the friends of the podcast, the Owl Shop.
The Owl Shop,
especially now that it's getting nicer outside. They have a nice little patio area.
We gotta go back to that.
Yep, nice little patio area in front of the building, the Owl Shop. If you're in the market for a good cigar lounge, they have the best drinks in town. They have the best cigars in town. They have the staff to help you pick out your cigars, whether or not you like something robust or a blondie like Jay over here.
Love me blondos.
No shade against that. That's a nice cigar. Owl Shop, 268 College Street in New Haven, Connecticut. You could do no wrong by seeing these guys.
Also, I still haven't gone to watching Forrest Gump yet.
Yeah, we're getting. You need new underwear for Game of Thrones, but you haven't seen friggin' Forrest Gump yet. Guess what? It was on TV like 2 days ago, but man, we can't watch it.
I'm gonna watch a clip, and next week we'll discuss another clip.
Just watch the movie.
I'm gonna drag it out.
Just watch the movie. If you just watch clips, you're never gonna understand. That would be just me watching the shame clip of Game of Thrones and then understanding what the hell was going on. Like, I'm not gonna understand that.
Yeah. All right, brother, man. Let's plug it up, man.
Well, the Pro Football Radio Podcast. You can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Pro Football Radio Podcast. Twitter is PFR Podcast. Instagram and Facebook, Pro Football Radio Podcast. You can follow Cheema at Cheema on Twitter, and myself, Brando_Puma on the Twitter. Content-wise is you can find us on SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play under Pro Football Radio Podcast, and we have a little bit of a YouTube channel.
Yeah, buddy.
YouTube, Pro Football Radio Podcast. That's all I got.
Awesome. Well, thank you to all our fans. We appreciate it. We're at 500 and I believe 7 listens. I'm sorry, for the last podcast. So thank you so much. We appreciate all you guys.
Yeah, it's a good time. Vaya con Dios.